know it's hard to look back, but your story might be helpful to others.
Basically, if I think back, it started with these like crazy headaches, which was weird because I'd never had headaches before.
What happens is that I pass out all the time. Before it used to happen like 50 times a day. That's why the principal told me I couldn't come to school anymore.
Can you tell me what your first visits to the doctors were like?
I was going to a lot of appointments, and I went to emergency a bunch of times.
They like sent me for a bunch of tests and like CAT scans and stuff.
And what did they say?
They all said it was something different. One doctor said it was a sinus infection.
I was really confused as to why I was sick.
I knew my parents were really worried that it was something bad. I was scared.
Scared of what?
Maybe I might die or something.
What was your life like at that time?
Like the way I see it, my life kind of stopped when I was sick. All I wanted to do was be in a dark room 24/7. Like another thing that I had to accept was that life was gonna go on without me. You know, my friends were gonna keep going to parties and going to movies together, and they were gonna continue to hang out even if I wasn't there.
And what about your family?
My family sympathized with me, but it was really hard to connect with them at that time because no one had been through something like that before. It's not like a cast on your arm that can show people what's wrong. When it's in your head, how are they supposed to know when you're in pain? And so you have to communicate that with them, but sometimes your words just don't work. So, I don't know, I kind of felt like nobody really got what I was feeling.
Well, it's hard. It's hard seeing your son go through something like that. It's terrifying because you don't have any of the answers for him. You keep on taking him to see all these specialists and they keep on coming up with nothing.
Nicole, can you tell me what it was like at first?
It was really hard to come home and see Anna not really be Anna. You know, she was always such a strong-willed, resilient child. You know, she always faced adversity. There was one time that she dislocated both knees, and she was so full of grit and grind. She was like, I'm good, I'm fine, let's go, you know? So, it was really hard to see her like that.
So how did you finally get a diagnosis?
Well, I think the first time we had a hint to what it was when Matthew went in for his EKG. He was all hooked up with these sensors, these electro sensors, and he was happy as a lark because he actually thought it was pretty cool. We were talking with a technician casually, and he asked Matthew how school was, and Matthew fainted, just lights out.
I got a lot of pressure from my family. They didn't really understand how your body can react to stress like that.
Why do you feel they didn't understand?
Well, I think that they thought that she was putting it on, and that she was just trying to get attention. You know, they just thought that, it can't be a physical reaction to a traumatic event. You know, it can't be that.
One of the cardiologists said that they think that they might know what it was.
And what did the cardiologist mean?
He said that Matthew didn't have a problem with his heart, but that it was a psychological problem. He explained that some kids, when they get overwhelmed, their body acts out for them as if it's doing the talking for them. I was actually hoping that they would find something physical that they could go in and fix it. Like if it was something physical, it's tangible, you can see it, it can be dealt with.
You were saying that in the beginning it was hard to make the connection between Anna's feelings and her physical symptoms.
It was hard for us at first to understand how therapy was going to be able to help with their headaches.
When you see those two polar opposite sides, it's confusing. He's passed out on the ground because of a negative emotion, and then he has this great smile on his face. That's part of the problem. He was bottling everything up.
Anna, do you remember what our first visits were like?
To be honest, I didn't really buy this whole thing. I didn't really see how talking about my feelings could fix something that was wrong with my body. I mean, all the medical doctors, they don't talk about the mind and stuff. They just talk about like what might be wrong inside your body, like a physical thing that they can go in and fix. I saw like my chronic headaches here, and then I saw things like stress and sadness and feelings here. And I didn't know that you had to break the barrier and fuse them together. Like I learned through that connection that I know to take care of my body, but that I also have to take care of my mind.
Well, I started learning about the things that made me sad and worried. And then the triggers and things like that that'd make me faint.
What helped me the most at that time was probably like hearing that my pain was real. You know, that was a big realization for me, that it wasn't just in my head. I realized that I have a lot of stress in my life and that my pain had a lot to do with that.
So, Anna, do you remember when your headaches started?
The week before they started, I was at a dance camp. Dance is something that I love and that I've always loved, but it's kind of a bad combination for me because I put a lot of pressure on myself and I'm pretty prone to injury, I guess. And I don't know, it's hard to admit that something that I love so much can also stress me out a lot. And I think I just put a lot of pressure on myself and it was building up. And that's when the pain started to increase because the stress was increasing.
You were saying that it was hard for you to make the connection between Matthew's emotions and his physical symptoms.
Well, through the process, I learned that the brain has such power over the body, and that Matthew had some particular emotional triggers. All it took was the wrong word or thought, and he was out like a light.
I think that society has an easier time with accepting a medical and a physical diagnosis, but it's hard for us to understand that the mind and the body can be connected. It's really amazing.